Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the House of Timmerman.
Hey.
I'm Kate, this is Dennis, and we are going to talk a little bit more about nutrition this week. If you took a chance and watched last week's episode, we did kind of scratch the surface a bit about nutrition and shared some information on that and kind of us tracking our current intake of food and some of the different diets that we've tried. But we're going to talk a little bit more about nutrition this week and kind of come at it from a little bit of a different approach. As you guys know, we are just past the holidays. We just passed Christmas, and we're coming into the new year. And with the new year brings, the whole new year, new me. It's the time where people tend to set goals for weight loss, choosing a healthier lifestyle, and all of that good stuff, which really is good. It's just sometimes we can kind of get lost in the marketing of social media and false advertisements.
Just the health and fitness in general.
In industry, there's a lot of scams, quick fixes, trigger words, and I think that this time of the year really kind of brings that again to the forefront. So I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about that. While I totally believe in setting goals and creating action plans and building those expectations for your new year, before you put money into a skinny tea, a detox tea, a waist trainer, before you put money into some of the pyramid schemes like, Shakeology, Beachbody, It Works, I could name more, but I'll leave it at that. Jenny Craig, there's plenty more out there, but
or a lot of just the general supplement industry.
Yes.
Altogether, yeah.
Before,
fat burners and stuff.
Yeah, yep. Yeah. Before you throw money into that, do research for one thing, and maybe take a step back and ask: Are you, willing to do the work? Are you willing to make an effort? Because the thing is, with those quick fixes, in about 2 weeks, you're no longer going to feel that motivation. You're no longer going to want to do the work because those quick fixes don't necessarily work. I'm totally speaking from experience. Before I lost weight, I would be one of those people. I've done Shakeology, I've done Beachbody, I've actually done It Works. It doesn't work. Surprise, surprise. I've done, a few other things, and truth be told, it was a total waste of money that I would gladly accept back at this point in my life, because looking back at it, nothing's going to make those changes unless you yourself make the changes. I would challenge you, instead of throwing your money into quick fixes such as that you put money into your nutrition. Buy healthier foods, put money into your education, learn how to do it yourself, do the research, Google. We're sharing information with you right now for free.
Yeah, you don't even have to put any money into doing research. There's so much information out there. It's available. You just got to do a little tiny bit of effort to kind of dig it out. The problem is, when you start doing that, you run into a lot of this bullshit that is targeted towards the person who's just starting and they don't know any better. And it's a lot of false promises and lies. Just straight up lies.
And that leads me to my third point. Get yourself a coach, a trainer. If you're needing that extra push, that extra motivation, if you want the extra credibility, there are plenty of coaches out there who, I would recommend, you recommend. I mean, if it's got to be the right fit for you. So whereas one person might not work for you, there are plenty others out there who, have that education background and maybe can come at it from a different approach that are going to work better for you.
And just like the products, the supplements and all that, if they're selling you something that's too good to be true, it's probably too good to be true. I mean, no trainer out there is a magician. It comes down to you doing the right things. But if they're telling you that you could lose 50 pounds in a month or, something like that, some crazy numbers, like not all trainers are going to be honest with you. They're not, there's a lot of bullshit artists out there, and I think it's probably a lot better now than it was 10 years ago when there was just it was like a free for all. Mm-hmm. Now standards have been set much higher. The knowledge level is so much higher, and I think that's more widespread now than ever before. So, like, no matter where you're at, even if you're in a small town, it's hard to say there's going to be a good trainer around you, because I'm thinking about a lot of the small towns I've driven through in South Dakota, and there's probably not any fitness trainers around those parts. But the amount of information online, like, it's available, it's there. So, and we're actually thinking about getting a home fitness kind of little channel started on this actual channel.
It's not something we're thinking about. We're gonna do it.
We're gonna do it, but we just got to get time to actually film some stuff. Basically, where we're gonna be doing workouts right here in the house of Timmerman, and minimal to zero equipment that you could do at home to keep you going. So I'm really inspired to do this because of a lot of my clients right now during the holidays, with traveling, with family stuff, functions. It's been harder for them to get into the gym. Rather than me renting a whole bunch of workouts on the fly when they say they can't make it or whatever, if I have a whole bunch of available workouts, I could say, well, do, this workout, or kind of focus on this or whatever. And we want to put together a whole bunch of functional workouts that are going to kind of make you sweat. It's going to be focused towards a lot of my clients. Is going to be where the focus is at when I'm making these videos. So like in the gym, we're doing our heavy lifts, we're doing our serious training, right? But a couple times a week, you got to get sweaty. You just got to put in some work. You got to move your body and just kind of get sweaty, And this is kind of the plan that I have for these workouts, are the sweaty workouts where it's not necessarily going to be so technical. We're not training for a specific goal, just some general fitness type stuff. So look out for that. We'll definitely be linking that up in future videos and all that. We'll be blowing that up. Make sure you guys check that out.
I'm excited for it. I think it'll be good.
Yeah.
Minus the sweaty part. But, we'll get through it.
It'll be good. You need to get sweaty.
But, none of that actually really leads into my next topic. But we're going to jump into my next topic.
Sorry.
Actually some of it does, because we're talking about the holidays, right? We're talking about getting back from, Thanksgiving and Christmas, and we're moving into the new year. And
things not being perfect, but getting something done rather than nothing at all.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So kind of.
Yeah, we're there.
Yeah. All right, we're good.
So what I'm getting at here is, we just enjoyed some really good food. We enjoyed time with our families and friends. And where do you kind of go from there? I know for me in the past, kind of coming back from the holidays was always a little difficult, because, you just enjoyed some really good food, and you've always got leftovers and treats and that sitting around in the house. And when do you put a stop to that eating, or how do you put a stop to that eating, and how do you move forward? Because I always felt guilt with food, and it's still something that I'm working with. There is an emotional tie with food that I still have to work through.
And you stop eating it when it's gone, right? Like, You don't want to waste food. Like, we're programmed to not want to waste food, even if it's not necessarily serving our best interest.
Exactly.
So,
And so food can be a hairy area.
I hope you don't have hair in your food. Yeah.
That's kind of weird.
Send that shit back.
But what I'm trying to get at is, how do you move forward from that? And something that always works for me is just being mindful going forward what I'm putting into my body. I think tracking has actually really helped us. Mostly for me, I think tracking, starting that before Christmas and now going back into it, that has really, really helped. I'm not obsessive with my tracking and what I'm trying to hit and everything, but just keeping in mind what it is that I'm actually putting into my body has been very helpful.
Can I make a quick point?
Yeah.
I think the word she just said right there was obsessive. And even if you're doing healthy things, if you're consistently being stressed out by these things, or it's always on your mind and it's a more of a source of stress than anything else, then it's going to be really hard for that thing to work for you. And so if you're constantly obsessing, even if it's over healthy things, it might not be the healthiest approach to things. Mm-hmm. So yeah, go ahead. So mindfulness is better.
So I'm typically an intuitive eater. Like I don't, I'm not big in tracking, because tracking in the past has gotten me to a point where, I was then scared to eat. And so it was a bit more intrusive to what I was eating and going based on, how did I feel and how am I performing? But I think now that I've got a good handle on what my goal is or where I want to go forward, I feel that tracking has been super helpful for me coming into the holidays and now leaving the holidays, by keeping in mind what it is that I'm actually putting into my body. And to go from there, it's you had your day. I didn't track on Christmas. There's no way I could track all the food that I ate, but I enjoyed it, and I woke up the next morning and that night even, I'm knowing that water is going to be good for my body. Water is going to flush out a lot of what's in my body and help me digest anything that is in there.
I ate about 3 pounds of cucumber and celery and cauliflower.
That was delicious, yes. But water is going to help. I've, not have been overdoing the water, but I've been paying a bit more attention to how much water am I getting in a day. What else am I doing?
Well, I just want to add a little bit to the mindful eating thing. And you said something about paying attention to how you're feeling and how you're performing based around your food. I think that's something that a lot of people really don't do. And a lot of that is because they're maybe so used to eating poor quality food that every single time they eat something, they get tired. And they think that's natural. They think that's normal. And they don't have that connection to how good they could feel after they eat something healthy, how much energy they could have or whatever. Then, and so they just kind of ignore it. They kind of brush it off. But that is a huge thing. So not only if you're being mindful about what you're putting in your body, if you can really focus on how you feel, because the first step is knowing what you're putting in, right? Because then how could you objectively know how you feel when you eat certain foods if you don't even know what you're eating, right? So like you said, tracking and keeping, like really being mindful of what is in your food. So not just like just eating a casserole, like know every single ingredient in there.
Yeah.
And whether it's a processed ingredient that they added preservatives or flavorings or whatever, or something in its natural form. That's the first step. But then after you're putting that good food in your body, you still have to make sure that it's going to be compatible with you and it's going to work with you. So really making sure that you listen to what your body does around these meals, especially when you're eating something new. Kind of take note of, do you feel a little tired? Do you feel maybe even a little anxious? Do you have like a weird feeling in your stomach, like butterflies or something? Or do you just feel like you can't stop yawning? Or maybe you get a little gassy or bloated or something, something like this. you know, take notice of that. And you could do that like on a very micro level, as far as I ate this food at this time and I felt this way for 2 hours afterwards. And you could do it on like a more macro level, like I eat eggs 3 days a week, and for the next 3 days I felt like this or whatever, you know what I mean? And not only that, but it could be even bigger. It could be like 3 weeks. So something you eat today can have an effect on your body for the next up to 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. So it's really hard to pinpoint things when you're just putting all kinds of random shit in your body. But if you're just kind of focused on a few key ingredients, then you could really like be more mindful of how those things make you feel and if it works for you. Because a healthy food for one person might not be a healthy food for another person. There's different sensitivities, different just, you know, genetic variations that make you more likely to do well on a certain type of food than another. So,
and that actually brings up a really good point, because by, you know, doing that a couple years ago, I've learned that I don't handle dairy well. So milk, cheese, whey protein, like any of that is going to make me sick. Ice cream, that's been a tough one because we both really like ice cream. You a little bit more, but so that's been something that I've gotten to work through, and it all started, you know, taking dairy out of my diet. It's something that I had kind of heard of, and I'm like, oh well, I can do this for 30 days. You know, I feel like I ate too much cheese because we were constantly buying it, but I was usually the only one eating it. So stopped that for about 30 days and then introduced it again, and I realized, you know, my face is now breaking out, or I'm not feeling very good after I eat that. So we took it away again, and it's, you know, something that we very rarely buy, is with stuff with dairy. We don't actually buy milk anymore. I think milk's disgusting personally. The protein that I buy is a plant protein. I've tried whey protein before, and it still doesn't work for me. And so I think that doing like I call it experiments, doing experiments like that and trying to eliminate something from your diet and maybe then introduce it again to see how you react to it is actually really kind of, I find it interesting.
Yeah, and I think that's really important too. Instead of seeing what we could add, you know, same thing with like a workout plan. That's instead of seeing like how much shit we could add on top of shit on top of shit, like let's see what we could take away and still get like the minimum effective dose. So, like supplements kind of come to mind on this. You know, people start working out and they think, well, I need all the supplements. Maybe you need to start taking away some of the stuff you put in your body before you start adding things, because supplements are just supposed to supplement like a real food healthy diet, shore up any imbalances or anything like that. You're not supposed to just lean on those for full health effect, pretty much.
What about, how do you feel about pre-workout? That's a supplement. So
hold on.
Go for it.
Yeah, 10 seconds. All right, pre-workout.
Where I was going with this is, you know, when I started working out, I thought pre-workout was the thing that you had to take before you worked out. Like, you couldn't work out unless you had pre-workout. And so I fell for that. And I think, personally, I think pre-workout's great. I don't take it anymore.
She used to not even mix it. She just knocked that shit back, powder form.
Yeah, mixing it. I started mixing it, and then that wasn't enough for me. So then I just started taking it straight powder. And now I don't even take it at all. So
we do. I mean, we still take caffeine. You know, we'll drink Bang energy drinks, and I'm horrible with the coffee. So coming out of the holidays, I decided maybe I should kind of cut back on the caffeine a little bit, and it's been super rough. So just full disclosure, like I'm straight up addicted to caffeine.
And I brought up pre-workout.
And so like as far as like the pre-workout thing, kind of bullshit. But not to say that caffeine isn't effective. Like, I really like it.
Don't get me wrong, I like taking pre-workout and then working out, but it's not something I feel like I need anymore.
Mm-hmm. And like, to be honest with you, I'm a caffeine junkie, but I don't even like pre-workout. I don't like the way I feel when I take it. It just doesn't work for me. So that's just one of those things, paying attention to how I felt around it and realizing I don't really like it. Same thing with the whey protein. Like, I tried to, hammer it in there, and it doesn't work for me. So I'm not going to waste my money on it,
So you two like the plant-based better? Or
yeah.
I mean, do you feel like you notice a difference?
Not necessarily. I mean, as compared to like a whey protein, I definitely feel I don't like get the farts and all that. If I take whey, I tend to get a little gassy. So, and that doesn't happen with this stuff. So,
do you prefer to get the plant-based protein for me, it's more of actually just getting protein in me because I don't like eating meat. It's not that I can't or I won't. It's just that it's not something that I enjoy doing, and I have a hard time getting enough actual food protein in me to meet my requirements for where I want to go. And so that is why I am taking the plant-based protein, is to get that protein in me, because 2 scoops of that is 40 grams and I have to get up to 160 in a day. I'm also taking bone broth, and that is 2 cups of bone broth is 18 grams of protein for me. So that is 2 things that I take in a day to help me get up to my protein to help me perform in the way that I need to. Both of them I feel have great and many benefits, but that's kind of why I'm asking, is because for me, I notice a difference because I'm coming from a place where I was not getting enough protein to now I'm getting enough, and I feel and I'm performing better. My nails are growing, my hair is growing, those things that your body won't do when you don't get enough nutrients, I'm now able to see and notice that difference. And so that's kind of where I was asking, is if I'm assuming, and I feel like I'm right, that you prefer to get your protein from a actual food source.
Yeah, and I don't even take a protein shake every day. It's just kind of something that if I'm busy and I forget to eat lunch, or I don't have time to eat lunch, it's great to kind of mix it up really quick. I would always recommend get as much of your nutrition from food as possible. Like I said earlier, supplements are just that. They're a supplement. So we don't want to get, we don't want to live off protein bars and protein shakes and protein cookies and protein drinks and like protein water and stuff like this.
A lot of that has, depending on the source, a lot of that has a lot of chemicals and it's processed. And,
it's so many companies are jumping on the bandwagon. Like, Marky Mark has a fucking protein company now. And that's maybe a bad example, but it's just, supplements are so mainstream, and like we go shopping at Hy-Vee all the time and they have a whole big long aisle of supplements, and so much of it is just frustrating for me, because I know it's just so much bullshit targeted at people who don't know any better. And it's false promises. You can't out-supplement a bad diet. You can't out-supplement lack of training. Supplements will not give you what you want. Quick fixes will not give you what you want. It's like Kate said, it's all about habits. You have to build in the habits and do it all the time. Or most of the time. You're going to get the best results from the thing that you could do on the most consistent basis over the longest period of time. Period. There's no quick fixes. You have to, well, sounds like the kids are home, so we better wrap this up. All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. We'll come back. Maybe we'll edit a scene in here. But thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next week.